What kind of characteristics does a good CTO have, and how do they get a seat at the executive table to help steer the company and become data-driven?
A deep understanding of the company goals and how do the tools that in their teams in order to be able to enhance those company goals and how to achieve those company goals in a much better, faster and cheaper way. It's also a great salesmanship to some regard, great communication skills, and really the ability of dealing with a crowd that is used to doing things in a certain way.
So taking it to a different direction, innovation, moving away from status quo. How does a CDO make a case for that?
It probably not using terms like let's move us away from status quo, because people are very ingrained to the ways that we've been doing things. So another way of looking at it is how do we de-risk these goals, these vision statements on what are we already doing from a process and procedures perspective by utilizing new tools that are available in the toolkit. So it's not necessarily moving the status quo, but is how do we de-risk the implementation of new technologies and how do we take the handhold the organization in order to get them to that place.
Is that argument strong enough for more traditional CIO, CMO, CEO suite to come around?
At the C level, I believe there's an understanding of the momentum that these tools carry. Is there a cost to these things which is going to make us potentially less profitable? And is it really going to make a difference? Do I have the skill sets in my employee base in order to be able to better use this thing? So the role of the CDO, CTO, CIO, and or the cohort of those three roles usually will then come back with a strategy and a plan on how to execute and scale the solution with a de-risk option in it, and making sure that the things that are being done are properly implemented, but then that they can, how quickly can they see that delta, that promise that in their hearts they know it exists because of the momentum they see in other places, but primarily is how can those things then be of any use to them in their own corporations.
How did you work with CDOs? How did you inhabit some of those roles?
One of the things that I had to learn over time was what are the sources of this information? Where is the research really coming from? It ended up coming from either following venture capital groups, but really following the people that are making investments on those companies that in the next 5 years are going to become the service providers for us. That's a very interesting lens for us to see what's coming up the pipeline, and then asking ourselves the question, can I become a user of those technologies right now, or what's it going to take for me in 5 years to become the first mover on those, and what could be the potential gain, and then providing those and packaging those to the C-level individual. My organization was tasked to vetting technologies and companies that could help or aid our company goals, right? We've vetted over the last 3 years, we've vetted about 1,000 companies that we then ended up working with around 20 something and scaling up about 6. The way that Ascent comes up into that formula is through our network of primarily venture capital groups, so that the portfolio looks a lot like what we would do if we had the time. We then started to understand what makes them unique, what differentiates them from companies that will be there in 5 years from now. And that's how Ascent came up.
For up-and-coming CDOs who are about to enter a company to take on that role, what's the first thing they should do when they land?
The first 100 days are very crucial for any of these roles, because you end up shaping the team in a way that they're able to execute and scale solutions within the company. So being able to craft enough bandwidth and flexibility so that they can execute, it's important. Also being able to identify what are the problems that you're going to tackle first. Every single employee usually will like to innovate, but they have a day job, so they can't. So crafting a piece of the bandwidth for the team so that they can also work with the employee base is going to be crucial for the success of the whole organization. If they have to pick one partner in the business to work with, who would that person be? And consider them as a sponsor in a way to be able to get that one product out that you need to market the heck out. So that way you can demonstrate that things are happening and to up and down the organization.